what he did. I don't know what he did.
How old are you, Selena?
I am 11 years old. I know everything. Me and my friend had glow sticks one day, and on the commercials you can see where they have those little glow sticks and they're going, I'm Raven from That's So Raven, and you're watching Disney Channel. And me and my friend like to play around. It's like, I'm Selena. We're watching Disney Channel. We like to draw it all the time.
You know what? You might not be too far off. You never know, right? You might not just...
Hey, I'm Selena Gomez from Wizards of Waverly Place, and you're watching Disney Channel.
I'm trying to get into my singing career or my acting career.
You sing too?
Yeah, but it's like I have vocal lessons and stuff like that. But I want to do that when I get older.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
What part did you feel that?
From the beginning. So I get the voice that comes in my head that says that you missed this, that sucked. Oh, you get a glimpse of yourself on the screen. Wow, that looks pretty.
I just think it's so unfair. I don't think that anybody deserves to feel less than.
Let's talk about Selena Gomez. Now, a bit of clarification before we get stuck in. I started this video with the intention to talk about the recent drama between Selena Gomez and Hailey Bieber. But the more I looked into the story, the more deeper I went. So I thought the documentary, right? She's got a documentary out that should shed some light on the story of Selena Gomez. But it was very jumpy and it left a lot unsaid. It didn't really elaborate on a lot of the deeper issues, nor the controversy. Of course, she don't want to talk about that. But right here on this video, we are going to talk about that. So what I've done is I've gone back through the life of Selena. I found out everything I could year by year, a timeline of Selena's life, including all the controversy in that. And it is a confusing timeline. The life of Selena Gomez is tangled. But what we're going to do is we're going to untangle that. I'm going to split it up into the eras of her life so we can see when things changed and what she was doing throughout that era or throughout that chapter. So let's get stuck in. The story starts the 22nd of July, 1992. That is when Selena Gomez was born. And now if you're trying to figure out how old that makes her today, as of 2023, that makes her 30 years old / 31, which she'll be turning in July. Now this first era, this first chapter, is going to be from 1992 to 2002. It is the era of Selena Gomez being regular. We'll call this the regular era. Selena Gomez was a kid. Nothing really happened, era complete. This next era is between the dates of 2002 and 2012. It's a 10-year chapter and we're going to call this Up and Coming. This is when Selena Gomez got her start. When she was on the children's show Barney and Friends. She was 10 years old at that time. This is also where she met Demi Lovato, who would be a long-lasting friend of Selena Gomez, or at least we thought it would be, but we'll get to that in a different era. Now she was quite popular on this show. She also showcased some of her singing abilities throughout this, but she was by no means the main girl. She was by no means a superstar. Throughout the next couple of years, she does a few more things. She was in Spy Kids 3. That right there, that's Selena Gomez. I forgot all about that. So she was doing a few different things, but it wasn't until 2007 when the spotlight really shined on her. You see, before this time, it seemed like Disney was testing out Selena in different formats to see if the public would like her, to see if audiences would resonate with her. So she did a lot of guest appearances on shows like The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and more importantly, Hannah Montana, when she played a rival pop star to Miley Cyrus, which was really Disney testing out whether or not she would be good enough to have her own show, whether or not people would like her, which clearly the testing went well, because in 2007 she got to star in her own show, which was The Wizards of Waverly Place. This was very successful for her. She started off that show when she was 15 years old, and it actually went on from 2007 to 2012. So it went on for a good 5 years until she was 20 years old. During this time, she started on a movie career. She was in a film called A Cinderella Story. She was also in another film called The Princess Protection Program, which was a terrible film, but it starred Selena Gomez with her long-lasting friend, Demi Lovato. But a full-time pursuit at this time really was Wizards of Waverly Place. And now, if you know anything about Disney during this time frame, this is when Disney was really trying to manufacture pop stars. And Selena Gomez was one of those people. So as well as doing Wizards of Waverly, she was also in a band, in a Disney-owned band called Selena Gomez and the Scene. Now, just to refresh you on the Disney pop star manufacturing era, at this time there was also riding the success of High School Musical and the Jonas Brothers. Interestingly enough, in 2008, Selena Gomez started dating Nick Jonas. Now, what's interesting here is this is when she met Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift was dating the other Jonas brother. So together they went out, they became really good friends. Now, I've actually done a separate video on the timeline of the Selena Gomez and Taylor Swift friendship, because I find that quite peculiar. But just so you know, this is when they first met. This is 2008. 2009 is when she starts her own Disney band, Selena Gomez and the Scene. Now, they released an album every year from when they got together in 2009, way up until they disbanded in 2012. 2012 is the signifier for the end of this era of Selena Gomez up and coming. Because not only did the band split up, but it was also when Wizards of Waverly Place got cancelled. So at this time, people are really trying to figure out what's next for Selena Gomez, because she's done a bit of acting, she's done the movies, and she's done the music stuff, and she's good at all of those. But they're all very much a certain genre, you know, they're very Disney-fied. All the films she was in, like A Cinderella Story and The Princess Protection, they're light-hearted, made-for-television children movies. She was a child star. She's now 20 years old. At this point, we've also seen a rebranding in people like Miley Cyrus, and we know it happens because we've seen it done way before with people like Lindsay Lohan. So people are trying to figure out what's next. It's almost as if she's graduated from the School of Disney. What route is she going to take? This gets us onto the era that I'm going to name the rebranding of Selena. A bit of a mouthful of a name, so I might think of something more catchy and short. Maybe we'll just call this the Rebrand Era. But before that, we have skipped over something that is going to become important throughout the next eras, and that is the meeting of Justin Bieber. This happened in 2010, so it was during the time that she had Selena Gomez and the Scene going. It was during Wizards of Waverly Place time she first meets Justin Bieber. They start dating, and they would begin what would be an 8-year on and off relationship. Now, what's important here really is the aspect of on and off, because they broke up a lot. So I'm not going to mention every time they broke up and every time they was off and on again, because a lot of it we didn't even know. It seemed like they were breaking up every week and getting back together. So let's just assume that during this time, Justin Bieber is somewhere in the picture, either dating Selena or doing his own thing. But what we start to see is Selena getting somewhat jealous over certain things. Anytime Justin Bieber is linked with a female, which he is a lot of the time, given his work and his popularity at his time. This was time in his career when he was really kickstarting things. So we get to see a lot of jealousy there anytime that he's linked with a female. But just note that they met in 2010. 2010 is when they first started dating. But back to the new era, back to the rebrand chapter in Selena's life. It's 2012. She's currently dating Taylor Lautner. So her and Justin Bieber are on a break, and now she's with the werewolf from Twilight. So everyone is on the edge of the seat waiting to see what Selena Gomez does next. And then she comes out with the movie Spring Breakers in 2012. This really signified the start of her rebranding, because Spring Breakers, if you've never watched it, is a more racier movie. This was also a rebranding movie for Vanessa Hudgens, which I found weird to watch because it's James Franco, who was already like this slapstick comedy type of guy, with Selena Gomez and Vanessa Hudgens, who both played like high schoolers now on spring break. But it's weird to watch without thinking, that's Vanessa Hudgens, that's James Franco, and that's Selena Gomez. It was weird. But it was a rebranding, and you can even see if you put on her last movie before Spring Breakers from her kind of up-and-coming era, and then I show you a picture of that side by side with her from Spring Breakers, you'll see what I mean. Now during this year, she also stopped dating Taylor Lautner, and she was back together with Justin Bieber. And then we get our first taste of the Selena and Bieb's public feud going on. We also get to see this, the first kind of real controversy in Selena Gomez's life. It's small, but it's a signifier of what's more to come. So Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez, they break up again for what's got to be publicly the second time at this point, but we don't know how many times it really has been. Justin Bieber is about to do a performance for Victoria's Secret, for the Victoria's Secret show in New York, during which time he's taken a lot of photos with these models which are being posted online. In particular, he gets friendly with one model called Barbara Palvin. Now him and Barbara are taking some photos and they're chatting it up on Twitter. There's nothing out the ordinary here. It's very friendly. But the fans of Selena Gomez really start looking into this and thinking, oh, could there be something there between him and Barbara? They're getting real close. And they find a little clip from this Barbara, from this supermodel, this Victoria's Secret supermodel, from a few years earlier, where she's asking people to request a song that she does, and she says somewhere in the clip that, oh, I don't take Selena Gomez, I don't like Selena Gomez songs. So people have taken this and been like, oh, Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez has now broke up, and he's taking photos with this girl who really hates Selena Gomez, who don't like Selena Gomez, this supermodel who hates Selena. And they're really running with this, as fans do and as the press do, always looking for that story. And if there's no story, they'll just create one. That's what they do. This is not news, we know this. But the drama really goes up a notch when Selena Gomez posts this photo on Twitter, and she captions it with a simple ... Now that's an example of this passive-aggressive nature that we're going to see with Selena, and we see it a lot in today's controversy. She keeps her hands clean. You know, she says, she kills them with kindness. She never says anything outwardly mean. Instead, she always seems like she's saying something that's nice, or not saying anything at all, but there's like layers to it. There's a deeper understanding. It's very passive-aggressive. Like, it's just a ... That photo, by the way, you've got Justin Bieber there, and you've got Barbara in the background. We don't know when that was took. Could be after the Victoria's Secret thing. It didn't make much sense. It's the fact that she posted it. She kind of put fuel on this fire. She's kind of telling her fans and the press, you know, hey, look into this more. What is going on? Then we get to 2013, still in the rebranding era. Selena Gomez starts music again. This time it's a solo career. She's still doing pop music, but it's a lot more racier than the earlier stuff. We also get taste of another mini feud. At this time, Lorde was just hitting the scene, and Lorde was seen to be criticising Selena Gomez's new song at the time, Come and Get It. She labelled it as anti-feminist and set back for the movement. Of course, this started a bit of bad blood between the fans. So we saw Lorde fans really hating on Selena, and we saw Selena fans really hating on Lorde. But successfully, she has rebranded herself as an adult. She's done the whole movement from child actor to grown-up woman. Then we get to our new era. This is when things start going downhill. This chapter is going to go from 2014 until 2017, and this is going to be the broken era. This is when things slowly start going downhill for Selena. It's when her mental health starts really slipping away. It's when things just start getting bad from her. So we kickstart the era 2014. An unknown hacker allegedly leaks photos of Selena Gomez. I'm trying to not say, so during this chapter and going on with this video, there's going to be a lot of words that YouTube doesn't like. So I'm going to use a lot of replacement words throughout, but hopefully you understand what I'm talking about and we can go through quite smoothly in kind of code, right? Because I'm trying to tell the real truth. So a hacker leaks bare photos of Selena Gomez. Selena's team says that they're fake photos, but more photos keep coming out, which is clearly her. She also gets embroiled in another scandal when bare photos of her then boyfriend Justin Bieber, you see they got back together during this time, they were posted on her own Instagram account. However, the pictures then got deleted minutes after, so it seems as if she accidentally or purposely accidentally put the photos on her own Instagram. It was later said that the Instagram account was hacked, but it just seemed weird because during this time a lot of these bare photos was coming out. It seemed like on a weekly basis, as just of Selena Gomez alone, they kept coming out. But there's the ones of Justin Bieber came out on her Instagram account. I don't understand if this was the same hackers, why they would take the photos of Justin, then hack her account and then post them to the account when all the other photos seemingly was propping up on places like Reddit. Just didn't make sense. Also during this time, we had people like Miley Cyrus, who Selena was in Miley's shadow for a lot of this. Miley Cyrus came first with Hannah Montana. She started working on movies. She started then her pop career. She started rebranding herself. And Selena Gomez was always doing the same thing, but just a little bit behind. A lot of people also said that Selena Gomez sounds like Miley Cyrus. And by a lot of people, I mean me. She sounds spot on like Miley Cyrus. So it always seemed like she was in her shadow a little bit. And before these bare photos of Selena was out there was photos of Miley Cyrus, which actually worked out pretty well for Miley because it really helped with her rebranding. Even though she had successfully rebranded as an adult, a lot of people still seen her as a child. A lot of people still seen her as Hannah Montana. So these photos definitely squashed all of that visionary. People only then seen her as an adult. So a lot of people started thinking, is she leaking these herself? So in the same year and out of the blue, she checks in to the Meadows Rehab Facility in Arizona. Immediately, rumours were being spread about this secret that Selena Gomez, that she has a dictionary problem, you know, and that maybe she's medicating herself, if you catch my drift, which makes a lot of sense. You see, her and Demi Lovato had been friends since the beginning of their career. They've been friends since Barney and Friends. They were the friends in Barney and Friends, and they were real life mates. And now Demi Lovato has had quite a big dictionary problem during this time, and in fact she had already went to rehab twice by 2014. So it does make a lot of sense that Selena will be going through the same thing, because if your best mate is into something, no doubt you're into something. Like when they was hanging out, when they was going out together, we know exactly what Demi Lovato was getting up to. We always just assumed Selena Gomez was a simple bypasser who didn't indulge. But now it seems like maybe there is a secret life that we don't know about. So the management team came out and said that there is nothing to do with medicine, right? It's nothing to do with any kind of substances. Then we don't hear anything until 2015, when Selena once again shocks the world by announcing that she has been diagnosed with lupus. She said the diagnosis came before her stint in rehab in 2014, and now she starts explaining why she was in rehab as nothing to do with medicine. You see, lupus is a chronic autoimmune disorder that affects the skin, kidneys, brain, joints, blood cells, heart and lungs. And whilst lupus is oftentimes a lifelong disease, it's characterised by frequent flare-ups. Selena said that she had simply entered the rehab facility to recover from the side effects of chemotherapy for her newly at the time, diagnosed lupus. But a lot of people thought that this didn't add up. Seems so, I mean, we've already spoke about her best mate Demi Lovato and what she was going through, so it made sense that Selena was going through the same thing. Now, I'm not to say she was lying about her lupus. I'm sure she does have lupus. Who would lie about that? But I'm saying that if you look into it, the story that she was in the facility to recover from the lupus diagnosis seems a bit far-fetched. Mainly because when you're recovering from something like lupus, you don't go to rehab, you go to a hospital. Secondly, this particular rehab centre specialised in certain things, and those certain things are the certain things that her best mate Demi Lovato really liked. Then we don't really hear anything through the rest of 2015. After this lupus diagnosis is out, all those rehab stories has kind of been squished by the media. But at this time, she's seen being out a lot, being drunk. She's seen going to award shows and on nights out when she's in a certain state. She's also suddenly became best friends with Orlando Bloom. And the media had picked up on this and started doing a little, are they together? Orlando Bloom and Selena Gomez, but it was never really a thing. It all seemed quite platonic, especially considering Orlando Bloom had just got together with Katy Perry. Then out of the blue, in 2016, these photos are snapped and these photos come out of Orlando Bloom and Selena Gomez seen together at a club getting jiggy with it. So not only is Orlando Bloom a bad guy because he's just cheated on Katy Perry with Selena Gomez, but Selena Gomez is a bad person because she's just threw all of girl code out the window and got together with Katy Perry's then boyfriend, which is another one of these scandals which has been squished. It's another one of these things that we forget. A little bit after, Selena Gomez checks into rehab for what would be the second time. And this is another example, this is another thing we see within the Selena Gomez story. Anytime a lot of negative press comes her way, it's usually followed with a stint in rehab. This time, she says that she checked into rehab for anxiety and depression. However, once again, this rehab that she checked in specialised in a certain substance. So clearly she wasn't telling the whole truth. And a critical piece of evidence that backed that up is that the anxiety and depression was said to be caused by the treatment for her lupus. Now, if you have lupus, the last thing you want to be doing is things like smoking, drinking or tanning. That is really, really bad. That's bad for you in general, right? But extra bad if you have lupus. And she was seen doing all of these things. In fact, there are photos of her in rehab smoking. Which brings us to 2017 and the final chapter in this story of Selena, which we're going to call the thin ice era. So at this time, the public are starting to believe that Selena is living this second life. She's living this secret life and she's not being clear on it. She's not being an open book about it. And that perhaps she is lying about certain things. We've seen her do things that has led us to see her in a different light, such as the Orlando Bloom situation. Now she kickstarts the era on a high note. She actually gets back into television. She becomes a producer. She becomes an executive producer for 13 Reasons Why. So she starts the year on a high, but then it all comes crashing down. She reached a point in her life where she was at an all-time low, and her symptoms for the lupus started getting worse. She started suffering from arthritis and kidney failure. Now, for kidney failure, there's a 7 to 10 year long waiting list for a transplant. Selena managed to get one the same year in 2017 because of her good friend Francis Raisa, who was the perfect match and kindly donated her own kidney to Selena. Now, to speak about this story a little bit more, we've got to go back in time. We've got to go backwards on ourselves to the beginning of Selena's story. So Selena and Francia met in 2007 when the two of them went to a children's hospital together. This all happened because the stars of Disney and the ABC family were invited to the event. Both Selena and Francia were starting their careers. They was both on the up and coming, and they was both the same age. So when they went to this kind of press event together, they became really good friends. And since 2007, way up until now, we're in 2017, they were very close friends. No one knew how close they were, but considering that Francia had donated her kidney to save Selena Gomez's life, you can imagine very close. And this was a big story. It was very heartwarming. But we're going to take a break from that story, and then we're going to return, because moving on, she's on and off with Justin Bieber still, because now this is the time when she starts a new relationship with none other than The Weeknd. Selena Gomez and The Weeknd, they broke the internet after they were spotted kissing next to literal dumpsters in Santa Monica. The couple then spent the next few months travelling to places like Italy. They were making out on yachts, and they finally announced on Instagram that they were together, that they were a couple, just in time for Coachella, which was in April of 2017. However, that whole thing was short-lived and came crashing down again as she returned to rehab. So this was a brief stint, and it wasn't really spoke about much by the media. The story kind of got squashed right away. However, Selena Gomez possibly using certain substances, stories propped up again in October of 2018. The singer was once again booked into rehab, and as it turns out, this time it was for addiction, but not in the way you think and not in the way we all assumed. According to her management, this was due to an emotional breakdown. The breakdown was supposedly in the form of a panic attack that she had at hospital while getting treatment for low white blood cells, which happens when you have lupus. However, an insider close to Selena Gomez says that the low white blood cell count was not due to her lupus, but in fact it was due to excessive drinking. Now, Selena denied all of this, said it had nothing to do with drinking. It's also worth noting that in 2018, this stay at rehab, the news came out just months before this ever happened. Her former boyfriend, long-term off and on again boyfriend, Justin Bieber, had announced that he was getting married, which kind of signified the end of the Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber on and off thing. And it also couldn't have been nice for Selena. You think about it. They've been on and off for so long. It's been such a story within Selena's life. All of a sudden, 8 years they was together. He's now getting married to someone that he's been with barely even a few months. It seems to me was that the story of Justin Bieber getting married really hit her hardly, and she couldn't take it, so she kind of turned to things like drinking and certain substances to get over that, which didn't work out for her, it didn't pan out. So once again, she ends up in rehab. And now we won't find this out till much later, But it's also said that at this time, Selena Gomez was hearing voices, and this was in the thick of a revival tour. She was getting back into music, she was trying to tour again. She was hearing voices, and according to the recent documentary, which we will get to, she didn't know what was happening. Her assistant said that the singer was hearing all these voices and they kept getting louder, louder and louder. And she was eventually taken to a treatment centre, rehab, for psychosis. And that is when she was diagnosed with bipolar. So take from that what you will. At the time, it said that it was about a panic attack from the low white blood cell count. It seems very obvious that it was actually about Justin Bieber getting married and her turning to drinking. And now we find out it's about these voices and this psychosis and bipolar. So you've really got to kind of just put your own opinion on there because we do not know the facts on this case. But this is also where we're going to return to the story of her and Francia. Remember Francia? She donated a kidney to her. Well, now in 2018, we're returning to that story. So news comes out that her and Francia are no longer friends. Allegedly, now this is all alleged, the reason that they're no longer friends is that Francia did not approve of Selena's unhealthy lifestyle after receiving such a big sacrifice, which was her kidney. You see, when you give someone a kidney, it's worse on the giver rather than the receiver, because the receiver is living in a state where they need that kidney. So when they get the kidney, the body just wants to take to it. The body wants it to take on, they want to cling on to this new addition, right? But for the person giving the kidney, they're going from usually being very healthy to then losing 50% of their kidneys, to losing half of them. So it's a very serious operation. It's a serious operation for both, but even more so for the person giving the kidney. It's a very serious commitment. And what Francia seen and what we seen was that almost as soon as she recovered from that operation, she went out drinking, she went out smoking, she went out probably using certain substances, then had to check into rehab, and she just really wasn't taking care of it. She seemed to just not care whatsoever. It's like Francia expected, once she gives her kidney, that Selena's going to treat it with a bit more respect, maybe calm down on the substances she was taking, calm down on the drinking and the smoking, and instead just be a lot more thankful. It seemed that Selena was not thankful at all. We will get a bit more clarification on this, but for now we're going into 2019. This is when Rare Beauty is founded, so Selena Gomez is moving in to the world of makeup. It all seems like it's up and coming again. In 2001, she also lands a role on Only Murders in the Building, which is the huge show. I don't know if you've watched it. It is amazing. I love that show. It's got Steve Martin in it. It's Selena Gomez alongside these two living legends in this new role, which seems to be the best thing for Selena. I watched that and I thought it was brilliant, and I thought she was amazing in it. It seemed like perhaps this 2018 rehab stint was the best thing for her because she seemed to be doing very well. So a light is being shined on her in a good way, but people are still curious about previous scandals. So in 2022, she releases a documentary called Selena Gomez, My Mind and Me, which is what I spoke about at the beginning of this video. It doesn't elaborate on much and it doesn't really tell the whole truth. Instead, it focuses on her mental state and her mental health and just how bad it was during kind of the crashing down of Selena, but it doesn't mention anything about rehabs or anything like that. It was also very interesting is that during this time, there's two things to point out, and this is when we return back to the story of Francia. So firstly, she says in an interview that Taylor Swift, remember I spoke about Taylor Swift? Way when she was with Nick Jonas and how they met? Well, she says Taylor Swift is her only friend in the industry. And they do have a strong friendship. Like I said, I've done that other video. Check it out. They have a very strong friendship. But she says she's her only friend in the industry. Seemingly forgetting, and what everyone thought, what about Francia, who gave you a kidney? People also noticed that in the documentary, she skips over the fact about Francia and the kidney stuff. She doesn't mention it. It seems like if you're doing a documentary on your life, especially one focused on your health and well-being, you would put some good mention into the woman, your best mate, who gave you a kidney. So people started looking into this more, and they noticed that this is when they really noticed they weren't friends. Selena Gomez wasn't following Francia on social media, and Francia wasn't following Selena Gomez. Francia also retweeted or reposted a clip from the video and said, oh, well, this is interesting, as if to kind of say, well, where was my mention? So now the story of Francia saying, well, I didn't like the way Selena treated the kidney, seems to be a lot more believable. And now we've also heard new stories coming out of Francia saying that she felt somewhat peer pressured to give the kidney, that out of the blue, Selena had called her and said, we're a match. And she was like, a match for what? It's like, oh, we're a blood match. I can have your kidney. And she was thinking to herself, well, how do you know we're a match? Like, have you just been... It's almost like the management of Selena saw the money dwindling because she didn't have a kidney and just went out and started testing everyone who Selena has ever met to say, let's get this girl a kidney. Very privileged of her. And then Francia was saying that it felt like the management, Selena's management, had rushed her to the hospital before she could even put proper thought into this. As well as that, during the documentary, she's talking a lot about how she hates the fame and how she doesn't want to be this super famous person. But at the same time, she's working on like new music, and it's kind of a big, contradiction. So just as it's all on a high with The Only Murders in the Building, which was absolutely brilliant, I highly recommend it, we're now back to a crashing low. And this is when the Hailey Bieber and Selena Gomez thing really started. The only reason I wanted to make this video, the only story I was initially interested in. But the reason I couldn't just do a video on this story is because it's so confusing and honestly so petty that I couldn't find an interesting point. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to tell you the story as it happened, right? I'm just going to pinpoint it. Story time. Hailey Bieber versus Selena Gomez. It all starts February the 22nd, 2023. Selena Gomez, who we know was dating Justin Bieber, they was off and on 2010 to 2018. We know now that she did not take that breakup well. She posted a TikTok joking about how she had accidentally over-laminated her eyebrows. Very innocent, very non-newsworthy. Hours later, Justin Bieber's wife, Hailey Bieber, who, as we know, married Justin Bieber in 2018, reportedly 6 months after he broke up with Selena Gomez for the final time, she posted a screenshot to Instagram of herself FaceTiming Kylie Jenner, with the screenshot featuring a close-up of both their eyebrows, which fans perceived as a dig towards Selena. Like I said, it's all petty. That is how this whole thing started out. And then out of the blue, Selena Gomez defends her lifelong friend, who we know, Taylor Swift, correct. She defends her in the comments of a TikTok video which shows Hailey Bieber miming a gag when Swift's name is mentioned. And then Selena she's saying in this comment that, Taylor Swift is one of the best in the game. Like I said, Selena Gomez is very passive aggressive, killing with kindness, and this is one of those examples of how that comes in. But it's not just her being passive aggressive. It's the whole group. It's Hailey Bieber, it's Kylie Jenner, it's everyone's being passive aggressive on this one. Here's the story for you. Selena Gomez goes to this glamorous New Year's Eve trip to Dubai with Gigi Hadid, Kendall Jenner and Kylie. This was years ago. This was like 2013. Someone makes a video pointing out and saying that the only reason Kylie and Kendall invited Selena Gomez to this party was in order to give Hailey Bieber alone time with Justin Bieber. Which seems like a controversial point to make, but Kylie Jenner likes this person's video. They actually like it, as if to say, yep, that's true. And that's a perfect example of this feud and how it's subtle digs here and there. If you look back long enough on Twitter, you can see that Hailey Bieber was a big fan of Selena Gomez and was shipping the whole relationship with Justin. You can also see that Justin Bieber liked a certain type of girl, skinny, pretty girls, which Hailey Bieber is. You can also see that Selena Gomez was very jealous of Justin Bieber and was very controlling about the women he would see. So it all makes sense that, yep, Justin Bieber probably did like Hailey at the time, that him and Selena was together, and now the whole thing's kind of been blown out of proportion. Hailey, Kendall and Kylie are the mean girls. Selena is the nice innocent one who was effed over. And it's those two put against each other. But I'm tired of this woman-on-woman violence. I think it should be Justin Bieber taking all the heat from this. But what doesn't help is the fact that if you do create a video at this time about the Hailey and Selena drama, it kind of generates a lot of traffic. So there's a lot of initiative for content creators like myself to be tempted just to do a video jumping on the trend, which is what I was going to do. But instead we're getting this whole documentary about the life of Selena Gomez. And like I said, this is such a petty feud, but it's starting to get out of hand now. Now we've got fat shaming coming into it. So Hailey Bieber did this video where she's seen alongside Kendall Jenner and Justine Skye. And the audio in the background is saying, I'm not saying she deserves it, but I'm saying God's timing is always right. Now, what people are saying this refers to is the fact that Selena Gomez has been recently snapped in a bikini where she's looking, in my opinion, fantastic. But a lot of people are noticing that she's put on extra weight. So there's all these like fat shaming articles, tabloids, and people are basically acting as if Selena Gomez has just put on 300 pounds of pure fat. She's been struggling with a body image recently, and for good reason, with all these people commenting on her weight. She actually went live to discuss her appearance to her fans, where she said that she was explaining herself. She holds a lot of water weight. She has to take the lupus medication, and she was explaining why she's put on weight and how it's explainable, which you should never have to explain your weight to strangers on the internet. It should never get, no matter how bad of a person you are or how much your body has changed, you should never do that. And it's just, she's not changed that much. She's put on a little bit of timber. Her body shape has changed slightly. She looks better for it. She looks absolutely fantastic. Yet it's led to this point where she has to go on and explain her weight. That cannot feel good for anyone. She shouldn't have to do this. And people are starting to tie in Hailey Bieber and saying she must be digging at that. I don't think she would, and I don't think we should be putting emphasis on it either way, even if she was doing it. So in the midst of all this, we've got Selena then coming out and saying that she's taking a break from social media. She says, this is a little silly. I'm 30 years old. I'm too old for this. She did a little break, but now she's come back. People are still adding to this drama. It's still this Hailey Bieber versus Selena Gomez thing, which all started over Selena saying she over-laminated her eyebrows and people thinking Hailey was taking a dig at her. So it's all a little bit crazy. As we know from the full life of Selena Gomez, which we are now well up to date with, she has a history of not taking things very well. She slips into certain habits. So we're going into a new era now, which is the era of I have no idea. This Hailey Bieber versus Selena thing is such a small thing. It's tiny. It shouldn't have this much emphasis on it. But thinking of it from Selena's point of view, what it's really doing is it's pulling out all this old stuff, all this stuff about Justin Bieber that she doesn't need to be reliving. We know how badly she took it. Let's just leave that in the past. Don't need to be dragged out. Now we're taking her body image into things which she can't be dealing with very well. And it's a slippery slope where this insignificant drama could turn into her once again returning to certain substances, could be returning to drinking, could be returning to more stints in certain facilities. We could hear in 1 month's time that Selena is found in a hotel room having overdosed, and it would not be a shock to anyone. We could also find that Selena is working on a new album or doing some amazing stuff. It also would not be a shock. We just don't know how she's going to take all this stuff. We know she suffers with mental health. This can't be good for her. Can she come out of it? Does she have the support system round her? She doesn't have a friend Francia anymore. Her only friend in the industry is Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is currently doing one of the biggest tours of her life, so she's clearly not around to support Selena. So who does Selena have? She's got nobody. One bipolar episode could turn into the worst day of Selena's life. So all I'm saying is we should all tread carefully. We should treat her with a little bit more respect, and both of them, because Hailey doesn't deserve this either, just because she's with. You can't just categorise someone as a mean girl and as bullying because of some stuff that you've insinuated from the internet. Do you know what I mean? We should let Hailey Bieber do her thing. We should let Selena do her thing. I'm not saying bring them up when there's drama about and call them out on things that they do, but only when we've got substantial evidence, not over insignificant comments that you've seen here and there, not over this passive aggressive stuff that you're trying to figure out on your own. We should just let them be. And that concludes my first full-length documentary on none other than Selena Gomez and the life and times. Now, throughout this whole thing, it seems like I've gone a bit hard on Selena at times. My opinion has not always been in the favour of Selena Gomez. But at the end of the day, what I figured out from all my research into Selena Gomez is that I actually really like her. I really like the girl. I think she's got some issues, but I think she's brilliant. I think she's also a great actor, is what I've discovered.